Hey, what's up, YouTube, all you diecast fanatics? Happy Easter. Sunday night, 10:48, Phoenix time. I have one car I've been wanting to show. It's been seen, been a while. I sold this car to a guy in India. I think he's in India, and he's bought a bunch of cars from me over the last year. And he's asked me not to ship them because they tax him. They open your box and go through it, and they tax you based on what they think. You know, all of you that think America's not great, could you imagine that? You get something shipped in from overseas, and they stop and open it, determine a value, and it's arbitrary, and then they just tax you on what they think it's worth. So because of that, he's asked me to hold off on shipping. Now, it's come to a head. It's time to ship the box. And over the last couple of weeks, we've made some additional deals, and I traded him to get this car back. So what you're looking at now is a Hot Wheels Bugatti Veyron. I think this was a mystery car, but I don't know for sure. Hot Wheels has put this out. The first edition is blue and silver. There's two wheel variations on that one, the FTEs and actually these ones here. It came out in yellow, which I think that's a mystery car too, and I think this one is. Correct me if I'm wrong. It also came out in red and black the second time it came out, and then it also came out as a speed machine. And I don't believe it's been out since. I don't know, honestly, if they still have the license to make Bugattis. So, where I'm going with this is there's a small handful of 1/64 scale Veyrons. The Hot Wheels and the Siku are the two most common that everybody knows about. A lot of people seem to really like the Siku. I don't. I think it's actually a hideous casting. The Bugatti's not, in my opinion, it's kind of an ugly car to begin with. So when you take an ugly car and you put it in the hands of a diecast company that I don't really think does all that great of a job to begin with, you know, you get what you get. But I know a lot of you guys like that Siku Veyron, and that's fine. More power to you. I had it. I bought it off eBay because it was like $7 shipped. And when I got it, it's just awful. So, I think the Hot Wheel is a much better representation of the car. I think it's a better replication of the car. The proportions, the stance, and the scale all seem to be better with the Hot Wheels. I would love to see this in a premium lineup, like the car culture. Could you imagine this car with the metal base and some real riders? And oh man, that would be sick. Exotics. The problem is, I don't think Hot Wheels could do an exotics car culture series because they don't have the Ferrari licensing any longer. But they do have Pagani, they have McLaren, they have Lamborghini, they have Porsche. So I'm sure they could still do an exotic. But I don't think they have the Bugatti licensing, because I think if they did, that we would have seen more of these. So anyways, where I'm going with this, there is a company that specializes in 1/18 scale, but they did dabble in 1/64 briefly. They make amazing cars. Their cars, I think, are between $100 and $200. However, they increase in value. As an example, the Mad Max Auto Art, the dirty version, I think that's like an $800 car right now, and some of them get up over $1,000. But anyways, here it is. This is the 1/64 scale. I'll start by showing you guys the base. This is a plastic base. it the other way so you can read. These are rubber tires. No tread, just slicks. It is a beautiful little model, I will tell you that. They went all out. It's as nice or nicer than any TLV or Kyosho that I've seen. Granted, it is very different than those brands. The car just has a totally different feel. It's much heavier than Kyosho. Probably about the same weight as a TLV. But it's a really nice rolling car. The intricacies of the detail, just everything from these prototypical wheels, which I don't know with this lighting if I'm even going to be able to show these things, but they are pretty stellar. So much amazing detail on this little car. Lens, headlights, and taillights. I'm not sure what these go for now. I bought this for $40 shipped on eBay about a year ago. And honestly, I haven't checked in a long time. But you can get it. They did blue, I think blue and silver. They did red and black. And then they did a Dubai Police. So they did a small assortment of these. But I got this one because it was about $10 to $15 cheaper than all the others. And that's the only reason I got this color. Was that reason combined with the fact that I think this is a really good color for it. I didn't feel that it was necessary to pay the upcharge for the different colors. And it's just based on the popularity at the time of the other colors. That's why they cost more. I don't think there was any difference in the production. So this car comes in an acrylic case like an M2, which then comes in this box. That's very similar packaging to a Kyosho. This is the bottom of the box here. And then it does come with a serial number too. So that's an interesting fact. The Bugatti EB 16.4 Veyron was named after the last man to win the Le Mans 24-hour race in a Bugatti, Pierre Veyron. So that's where the origins of the name come from. Bugatti wanted to build a street car that would have the world's most powerful engine with possibly a 4-digit horsepower figure and be the world's fastest car at over 400 kilometers an hour. The result is a sleek, exciting sports car promising enormous power from an all-aluminum 7993, I'm assuming cc, cubic centimeter. It's a W16 engine. It's mounted longitudinally ahead of the rear axle on a separate aluminum subframe. Running 4 KKK turbochargers producing 987 horsepower at 6,000 RPM. The top speed is estimated to be 252 miles per hour or 406 kilometers an hour. Although owners wanting to test this for themselves will have to contact the factory, who will dispatch a mechanic to check the car over, fit high-speed tires, and remove the electronic speed limiter especially for the purpose. 0 to 186 mile per hour should take just 14 seconds. The Veyron 7-speed sequential gearbox is unique in that it boosts a dual clutch transmission, whereby one clutch controls gears 1, 3, 5, and 7, whilst the other controls gears 2, 4, and 6. The result being a constant surge of power when accelerating. Special run flat capability, Michelin PAX tires in 265 front and 365 rear. The largest tire sizes ever fitted to a production car are mounted on 20.5 inch diameter 12-spoke wheels. So this is the back of the card that came with it that I just read from. And it does have a serial number. It's a handwritten serial number. So that's interesting. This comes with the car. Certificate of authenticity. So that's pretty cool. I bought it about a year ago, and before I send him his box, I just wanted to see if there was anything I could do. There was this one, and there were, I think, 2 other cars that, now listen, if he would have wanted them and said, no, I like the cars, I paid for them, I would have been fine with that. And I told him that. I said, I just want to see, the other 2 cars was the Mechanical Doctor, the Toyota Celica, and the Toyota, the little Roadster. And I had acquired some other stuff that he was interested in, so I just made some trades with him to get these back. Everything else he purchased, and there's a lot of stuff, it's all going to go. But I am glad to have this one back. Really cool looking car. Although, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of the overall design of this car. I wish it had come with a spec sheet on maintenance cost, because I know you have to replace these tires. I think it's like every 3,000 or 5,000 miles, and they're about 20 grand. And I think you can only use 3 sets of tires for the wheels. Once you've replaced the tires 3 times, you have to get new wheels, because there's so much torque. This car has so much torque that you have to glue the tires to the wheels. If you don't do that, the torque will spin the tire off of the rim. So that adds to the maintenance cost. Not to mention the cost to insure the car, and the cost to maintain the car with all of its lubrications, oil changes. I think an oil change on this is like $1,200. They're very, very expensive to own. I got all those facts on a YouTube video. I don't remember which one, but there was a rapper on that video who had one, and he got rid of it because he was like, man, I ain't paying all that money just to maintain the car. So yes, they are awesome cars, but they are highly impractical. But they are definitely fast. But at $10,000 a month just to own, and that doesn't include your car payment, because these cars are over $1 million to buy. So all right, so that's it. I mean, it's a really awesome car. I like getting stuff in this scale that is highly detailed. That's the focus of the way that I collect. So I'm glad that I found it. I'm glad that I got it, and I'm glad that he was willing to trade it back to me. Although he's getting a lot of cool stuff in exchange. But yeah, just figured I would show this. If you go back a year or so, I'm sure you can find some other videos showing this car. But hopefully the camera is doing it some justice. You know what, let me try one more thing before I wrap this video up. Just to see if I can maybe get a little bit better view on it. We'll try the other. We'll try the street terrain. A little bit lighter terrain. But check out the detail on the wheels. And the stance is proper, something that is very important to me with my diecast. I expect my diecast, at least if it's premium, I expect it to have proper stance. And if there's one thing that bugs me about Greenlight, it would be their inconsistencies with their toolings and the stances of their toolings. Transparent lensed headlights. There's the well-known Bugatti Veyron grille. And then the interior detail. Try and get enough light in there. I really apologize for the shaky camera. This isn't the best camera for that, but believe me when I tell you the interior of this thing is extremely detailed. And then on the back you have the engine here, that W16. Paint job is beautiful. This is probably the least desirable color that they did, but I think it's a really nice color. And then here are the lensed taillights with that single exhaust. Kind of looks like a, well, I'm not going to say what it looks like. It looks like a stink star. But there's another angle of that proper stance. Just a fantastic stance on this car. So there you go. That is AutoArt 1/64. Now, AutoArt did a couple other models. They did some Lamborghinis, they did some Mazda, they did some Nissan. But none of those other ones that I've seen have ever had rubber tires. They've all had plastic tires. This is the only 1/64 scale Auto World car that I've come across that has actual rubber tires. So I don't know what the deal is with that. The other Auto World cars that I've seen are extremely nice. Not all of them have lensed headlights and taillights. The other one that I had was the 350 Fairlady Z, which was a great looking car. Probably as nice from a detail standpoint, as nice or nicer than the Kyosho. if I recall correctly, it did have transparent headlights, lensed headlights and taillights, but it did not have rubber tires. It did, they all have prototypical wheels, which for me is pretty important. You know, it's one thing outside of Greenlight and Auto World, you know, with those brands, you know what to expect. But when I branch out and go to Kyosho or TLV or oddball brands, I expect those brands to have not necessarily always lensed headlights and taillights. I like that. But I do expect them to have prototypical wheels. So it's got a really nice wide stance. And this car is, from a scale standpoint, not just scale, but also proportions, the stance is much better on the Auto Art than it is on the Hot Wheels. However, the Hot Wheels is a very nice replication of the car. Much nicer than the Siku, in my opinion. I think the Hot Wheels is a much nicer model than the Siku. But hopefully from over the top you can see just how close Hot Wheels came with the sizing of the car and the scale. It's a little bit bigger, but not much. And, you know, that's purely coincidental. Hot Wheels does not focus on scale whatsoever. All they're trying to do is fill a 3-inch blister. So, with that being said, I think they did a really nice job with the car. Does have the staggered wheels, which I'm not a big fan of, but the rear wheels are not a whole lot bigger. But I think, realistically, I don't think the Bugatti has staggered wheels. I think they're the same diameter. The fronts and the backs are 20.5 inches in diameter. They are different width, with the rear wheels being wider than the front. But, like I said, the diameter of the wheels is the same. So, anyways, there you go. 23 minutes on a Bugatti Veyron. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to go throw this one out in a carny case, and then we will be on to the next. I got a request to do a Cadillac video. That video is going to be coming. But I think before I do that, I might do a premium detailed Skyline video. And in that video, I might actually include the Hot Wheels Skylines, because Kyosho did so many different body styles and they did them all so well. And it's kind of the same thing with Tomica Limited Vintage. There are Skyline toolings from both of those brands that I don't have, but I have enough of them that I could do a pretty decent little video. So I was thinking of that, and then I was also thinking of the Cadillac video. So I'm sure I'll get to both of those, but as for now, I'm going to call it a night, get to bed so I can get on with my week. Tomorrow's dreaded Monday, so you all don't work too hard. Have a good night, happy hunting, and I will holler at you at the next video.